Yes, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Wherever you are in the world, welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Apologies for being a bit late. I'll be honest, I'm turning into a massive wimp. My hay fever is kicking my ass. Like, I've just been back, like, going, achoo, taking like three hay fever tablets in the hope that it can all kick in. I just feel like I've got a massive Greek nose as well. It doesn't help. It allows for a lot of pollen to go in. First of all, big up to Lee Gunner. Lee and his 13-hour live emergency meeting. Let's hope we're not having one of them tonight. Big up to him. And again, it's I just want to say, somebody like Lee Gunner gets a lot of stick on the YouTube, a lot of stick. People, Savva, you're just a Lee Gunner. These people aren't real fans. Maybe it's just that these fans actually tell the truth about their club and other people don't like it. Big up to absolutely everybody involved. Let's see who we've got in the chat, and then we'll get straight into it. There's a lot of people in here, so I won't be able to say hello to everyone, but big up to Tony Rodriguez. How you doing, bro? Big up to the Aussie hater. My mum would slap me for that. She wouldn't, but you know, I mean, metaphorically. Big up to you. Big up to Vinny Rowley, Finn, Rickwood. How you doing, boys? Big up to Craig Henschel, Dean Law. Albie is in the chat. Ash. How you doing, Ash? How you doing, bro? I'm just waiting for you to send me something. Every day, Ash sends me something of note on WhatsApp. Big up to you, my man. Big up, Marianne. Big up to Atavatron Wembley. Tweak is in the house. Big up to you, James T. The stream is here. The stream is here. If you need Viagra today, you're not alive. I mean, it's a lovely thing to say. Yes, I know. Good morning to Rob. Don't envisage any scenario where Bodo score 3. We go through. Yeah, listen, I'll start as I mean to go on. I have said I fully expect Tottenham Hotspur to go through. I think it will be Spursy to not go through. I think we're going to go through. Apparently, I've got to take a lie detector test for that. But hey, I think we'll go through. Listen, whilst that goal in the last sort of 15 minutes for them opened the door, I do think it's a big mountain for them to climb. Guys, you've heard me say this a million times before. Just nothing silly. Like, nothing in the first 10 minutes where you think, I can't believe we're 1-0 down and they're all over us. Just nothing silly. A professional performance tonight. That's all we ask for. And I do think we'll have enough to go through. The worry for me, as I've said a million times, big up to everyone else who's in the chat, by the way. If I did hellos all morning, we'd never actually talk football. So big up to each and every one of you. Look, you know, I feel like we've got enough. My worry, I've said this to everyone all week, is that without Madison, if we were to go 2 goals down, which now means we do need a goal, I worry where that's coming from. However, I do think they're going to try and overload us. They're a passing team that want the ball. Patrick Berg, for anyone who's not heard that name, watch him play tonight. He will be the one that dictates everything Bodo do. Everything will go through Patrick Berg, deep-lying playmaker, very deep-lying playing, by the way. I had people the other day going, oh, you keep raving about Patrick Berg. He hardly ever scores. And I'm like, yeah, but maybe watch footballers play before you judge them on goals and assists, because he's a deep-lying playmaker that starts the play from the back. Now, I think they're going to have a lot of the ball. I think they're going to overload us. And I think that we can pick them off. And I think that's where we've been best. I think that's where we've been best as a football team. I've said this the whole time. The Ange fans hate me saying this. I think Tottenham look better when we don't play Ange's tactics. I think Ange's tactics what ruins Spurs. When we step away from Ange's tactics, we actually look all right. So we'll see. Should we go through for sure? Will we go through? Well, this is the history of the Tottenham, as I believe it was Chiellini who said that, from Juventus, right? Big up Stephen Saw. I hope you are well. Ash, yes. I think we look better on the counter. I genuinely do. We're built for the counter. I don't think we're built. I don't think the wingers we've got are good wingers. I don't think we're built for that. I think we're built for a wing-back system on the counter-attack. I think we're built to play the way Inter do, not at that level because of the players they've got and the manager they've got. I think that's how we're built to play. I don't know if that's just me. Big up to Ghosted, who started nice and early with the super chats. Big up to you. By the way, this is going to be a long day today, Ghosted. Got this show, then I'm going to redirect everyone. I'm going over to Never a Foul. Got a couple of videos to do. I'm on with Dan Potts and the 12-man podcast at 4 p.m. And then we are live from about 6:15 tonight for all the build up to the game, lots of guests, team news, and then the live watch along. And then win, lose or draw, there'll be a lot of streaming after the game because there'll be a lot to talk about. If we win, we're in a European final again. If we lose, it's been an absolute shocking season. Ghosted, big up to you. Yeah, I don't ever expect to see Angus the day after an Arsenal defeat. Maybe he'll prove us wrong. Maybe he'll drop in. What I did find funny was last night, I watched about 10 minutes of a gal trying to explain why it's not on Arteta, it was on the players. And he sounded like an Ange fan. So Arteta gets these guys in the positions. They don't score. It's not his fault. He sounded like the Ange section of the fan base, and sometimes people just don't learn. Big up to you, Ghosted. Really appreciate the early morning super chat. That's very, very generous of you. Do appreciate that. The odd year Ange hater said Tottenham and Kane winning a trophy in the same year. Different teams. It's surely happening. Well, listen, that would be very ironic, wouldn't it, for Kane to win that trophy and then we win the trophy in the same year. But listen, Kane has done his part. Are we going to do ours? BSD29, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. By the way, before I read this out, absolutely shocking once again on the super chats. On the likes, 51 likes. There's just under 200 of you in it and growing by the minute. Come on, guys and girls, let's smash that button. Said, how is it that we put in decent performance in Europe, but shite in the league? Look, I don't think we have put in that many decent performances in Europe. I don't think we've played well. I think that the Frankfurt second leg was decent because we sat in and defended. Also, the teams we're playing in Europe aren't strong. I think we've got to take that into account. The teams we're playing in Europe are not strong. And I know people have a go at me for saying that, but look, this is who sent me this. Look, someone sent me this yesterday. Look, this is who Tottenham have played in Europe. So you can see there that we've beaten Frankfurt, who are 24th in the UEFA Cup coefficient, and then after that, the next team is Alkmaar, who are 47th. We've not, as I said, we've not done. Listen, you can only beat who's in front of you. I'm not knocking it, but that's why you look Elfsborg, Bodo, Karabag, Hoffenheim, Ferencvaros. These are not great teams. These are teams that Tottenham Hotspur should be beating and are beating. Hence why I said we should be going through to this final. And then if you're in the final, you're playing Man United and you're winning it, right? Got to. Big up to you. Richest man said, is he similar to the fella at Blackpool when they came up? Can't remember his name, but was immense when Blackpool played at home. I don't know who we're talking about now. I don't know. Sorry, who are we talking about? Is who like the fella at Blackpool? Are you talking about Ian? What's his name? What's his name? Well, his name's gone out of my head. I'll get there in a minute. Who are we talking about? Sorry, richest man. Who are we talking about? Glenn has said it is a disaster if we don't go through. You can't give up a 2-goal lead. Completely agree. Even if we don't go through, there'll be people defending it, but you can't. You're absolutely spot on. Savva, how Spurs could Spurs be tonight? Listen, as I said, I fully expect us to go through. There can't be any excuses. There can't be. They're just. I'm not hearing a single excuse. There can't be. They came to our ground last week, all their best players missing, right? And we beat them easily. We're going there this week. We've got Madison's missing. I don't feel like there should be an excuse. I really, really don't. Oh, the Ange hater, big up to you. Thank you very much for the super sticker. Very, very generous. Really, really appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for everything you do on this channel. Much love to you. And I'll tell you what, I really appreciate all of my channel members. So thank you very much, Aussie Ange. Hater, thank you. Big up, fair play, Angus, as well. Look, I think you got to take it on the chin yesterday, right? I think, listen, I'm not going to be one of these who's, Arsenal shit. I think you were beaten by a much better football team, Angus. I think you had some really good chances. But overall, I think they're a much better team. I look at the quality of their free forwards compared to your free forwards. Again, I look at Saka again in a great, big, massive game. I just don't know what he does. So I wouldn't be too downbeat, my man. Listen, you were beaten by the better team. Yeah. The PSG are favourites to win it now, right? So Angus out. Big up, Angus. Big up, Angus. Angus and Agal. Look, Agal's a really nice guy. He's just he's tied his opinion. He's tied his whole YouTube persona to backing Arteta. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think sometimes when you're wrong, it's okay to say, yeah, I got that wrong. I think that's absolutely fine. Sorry, I can feel a sneeze coming on. Apologies, guys. Hay fever is killing me. Good morning to Phil Coys. Said Arteta in. Yeah, yeah. I mean, where do Arsenal go from here? They bought him in Berta. I think he's going to bring in a new manager. And I think if he doesn't, I think it's a massive mistake. Good morning to the Hotspur, Danny, my watch-along partner for the last couple of days. Big up to you, Dan. Hope you're well. And good luck to your second team, Inter Milan, in the final against PSG. Excuse me. Albia said Sarr will have a role to play with his fearless approach at shooting long range when others won't. Listen, we're going to talk about it in a bit. We'll talk about it. We'll see what people think the team should be. I think Spurs should pack the midfield today. I think that playing the two wide wingers is almost redundant. They just don't do anything. And again, for all those fans that keep telling me we should sign Tell, again, these people don't seem to do a lot. So it's up to them. Good morning to Sunila. Very generous. I said, good morning. Good morning to you. 6 years ago today, we beat Ajax. Let's hope for the same end result. Absolutely. Absolutely. But let's be brutally honest. This isn't Ajax we're playing. They're a good team. They're good at home. They've got good European pedigree in the last few years. But there should be no excuses for not winning the game. Do we agree on that, Sunila? There should be no excuses for not necessarily winning in 90 minutes, but going through. We simply have to go through. Simply have to, and I think we will. Big up Stephen. Said Lee Gunner 13 odd hour live stream. Mate, can I just tell you how much money Lee Gunner would have made from that 13-hour live stream? Just wow. Just absolutely wow. Big up Aussie Anchater. Just chucking in Dan E's link, please. If you haven't subscribed to Dan E, please do. Craig has said 3-1 Spurs. Feel this cup is ours to lose. Yeah, listen, I don't know about winning 3-1. They're good at home. They're very strong at home. They're very, very strong at home. Ryan, you were muted because you just kept saying really silly things, mate. I can spot trolls a mile off, Ryan. You're one of those. If I say it's Thursday morning in the UK, you tell me it's Friday. I've got loads like that. I've got a guy called Phil Coys in my WhatsApp group. He's like that. Just says ridiculous stuff because he thinks it's funny. I've got no tolerance for stupidity. Sorry, Ryan. I've got no tolerance for stupidity. The things you were saying yesterday were just mind-blowing. And it stunk of trolling. Sorry. Absolutely, Aussie Ange. If you say stupid shit, I've got no time for you. Absolutely, my man. That's who are Ben K in the house. Ben K. Good morning, Ben. Ian Holloway. Yeah, it was it. I was like, Ian. And you know what, Ben? I could see Ian Holloway, but in my head, I was saying Ian Dowie. I was just like, Ian. Yeah, Ian Holloway when he was at Blackpool. Yeah, Blackpool came up. That this is not true at all. There are definitely easy games in the Europa. Spurs have had many of them. Ferencvaros, Karabag, Elfsborg. These are very, very easy games. Yes, easy games. Big up to you. You did win. You won the Ian Holloway question. Yes, big up to you. Ash has said Arsenal only had a good start because PSG were trying to protect their lead. Once Arsenal got on top, PSG decided to play. Look, PSG for me, first of all, how good is that midfield three? Neves, Ruiz, and Vitinha. I watched that and I go, yeah, I want to watch that play. And then Doué, I mean, is anyone shocked that Doué didn't join Tottenham? Before I get to that, big up to each and every one of you. Big up to Arsenal, just a spicy Spurs, not a juicy Spurs. Yeah, listen, your record in Europe is not great, is it, in terms of going all the way? Hey, let's for my sake, I hope Tottenham go one further tonight, but we will see. Big up to you. Thank you very much for the super sticker. Really appreciate that. Jason H, not even saying anything, just whacking in the super sticker. Big up to you. I hope you are well, my friend. Big up to you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Look, you know, when you look at people like Doué, and we had fans going, he's going to sign for Spurs. It's like, nah, he's going to sign for PSG. And that is why. And also, I loved Luis Enrique's press conference. I loved his press conference when he was putting in the mud all the English fans that say, oh, we're the Farmers League. Here's a stat. I don't know if any of you have seen this. Here you go. I don't know if anyone can read that. I don't actually, should be big enough. There you go. Yeah. Paris Saint-Germain have now won as many matches against Premier League clubs in 2025 as Tottenham Hotspur. So if anyone wants to know how shit we are, that is how shit we are. PSG have won 5 Premier League games. And Tottenham have won the same. Utterly crazy. Good morning, Ben. Good morning, off. Again, Ryan, you know when I said you're trolling and you're saying silly shit, who's written them off? I've said I think Bodo win on the night. I think we scrape through, but this is going to be a tough game. Make no doubts about it. So again, don't lie. This is going to be tough. See, this is YouTube, people. This is YouTube. If I sit up here and say, this is a tough game, you're not a real fan, get behind the team. If I say we're going to win easily, you're writing teams off. You can't win with these people. People like Ryan, when they troll, not very clever. For the dyslexic polyglot, that is a great name. How does your brain even come to that? When you're naming your channel, how does one's brain even go, I know, for the dyslexic polyglot? That's a great name. Savva, remember, one does not just simply walk into Mordor, but seriously, after last night, Spurs winning the Europa League with pure banter. Absolutely. But forget the banter. As I've said for months, Spurs and Ange have done such a bad job in the league. He has taken us so far backwards that we have to win this competition. We have to, for so many different reasons. I know football fans don't want to talk about finances, but if Spurs don't go through tonight, we lose nearly 100 million of Champions League revenue and about 34 to 37 million pounds of Premier League revenue. Spurs tonight, if we go out, you're looking at a swing of about 140 million. Now, if we win the Europa League, and obviously it's not bang on 100 million, but you can get up to that depending on how far you go in the competition, we can claw nearly 100 million of that back. If we don't, it's going to be a long summer. It's going to be a long summer. Derek thinks that Bodo will win 2-0 and Spurs will win it in extra time. My worry, Derek, is that if we do go 2-0 down, where is the creativity coming from? Because there is none in this team without James Madison. Danny, Inter Milan will win the Champions League. Danny, they will win it, says Danny. Good luck. Listen, I don't mind who wins the Champions League now. I don't have a horse in the race. Obviously, I wanted Barcelona to win it more for Yamal than anything, but I think it's a great final, and I don't mind who's in it. Big up, Aussie Ange hater. Thank you very much. Where are we? Adiz has said Bodo Glimt fans were loading fireworks this morning. It's going to be an interesting game, isn't it? Let me see if I can catch up. No, I don't wish I was in Norway, if I'm honest. Do you wish you were over in Norway with Sean, Henry, and Johnny? No, listen, good luck to Sean, Henry, and Johnny. That is an expensive day out, isn't it? Good luck to them. I hope they have a lot of fun. I might see if I can get one of them to call in, but I've got a feeling that Henry and Sean will be very drunk by the time that game kicks off tonight. Flying out from Luton this morning, I believe, straight into Bodo. That's I just can't imagine turning around to my wife and saying, by the way, I've spent £1,300 on a day trip to Norway. Like, I just can't imagine how that works in their life. But hey, each to their own. Hope Henry and Sean and Johnny have a great time. And hopefully Spurs don't go all Spursy and ruin it for them. And hopefully if Spurs do ruin it for them, they're too drunk to care. Big up to those boys. Enjoy the day, lads. Just unfortunate for them. They've got to fly out of Luton, which is my least favourite airport in the UK. Who else have we got? Sanjesh has said, would you take our set to Spurs? No. Let's not do that. Listen, he's not a bad manager. I don't think he's a winning manager. But no, we're not taking Arsenal's manager after they sack him. That would be the ultimate in Spursy, wouldn't it? Let's not do that. Ben, absolutely. Luis Enrique is elite. Never gets talked about. He's absolutely elite. Am I right in saying, guys and girls, Ben, you might know this, PSG are on for the treble. They've won the league? Have they won the cup as well? PSG on for the treble? Let me know let me know. If that is, then I think he could also didn't he do the treble with Barcelona as well? I think that he could do another treble. Andrew Zattel is the Arteta of wingers, not good enough. Listen, he may be in the future, just not now. Just not now. Ryan, the things you were saying yesterday, mate, were just so weird. I can guarantee. Absolutely, Anton. Matt's not here yet, which means Reezy is. Then Matt joins in. Then when I do live watch-alongs, Aussie Dude joins in. What's going on? Okay. You're popping. Oi, who are you biting? I saw that. All right, come here. Danny, come here. Come here. I saw you nip your brother. Cheeky little git. Oh, little puppy nips. Big up to each and every one of you. Rob, Vitinha is different level. His footwork is phenomenal. He's about that big, and I'm sitting down, and he's still about that big. Sun's coming through a bit there, isn't it? There we go. Oh, what we got here? We got 2 dogs joining us. This is fun. Okay, 2 dogs joining us. Angus, Savva, take your bias aside. Whoa, no, sorry. Savva, take your bias aside, which I know you do. What manager do you think we should go for? A good question. I mean, the one you want, I don't think is gettable. I think you need either, an Inzaghi or a Simeone. Now, is the link with Simeone big enough with Berta for you to get him? I don't know. Other than that, managers you should go for. I don't think there's many great managers in the world. And I think the problem that Arsenal are in, you're in that position now where you need a manager that takes you to the next stage. You don't need like what we need. You don't need a Frank or an Iriola or a Silva or a Glasner. You need somebody who's been there, seen it, done it, and can really take you on. Let me have a little think about that. Yeah, crazy, isn't it? PSG winning as many games in 2025 against English teams as we have. Utterly crazy. Big up Ryan McFarland. I know not all Ryans are like this. I know indeed. Hang on. Sorry, it might go a bit noisy in a minute. The wife's popping out, so she's popped the dogs in with me. And at the moment, the puppy is pining after his mum instead of his chew. Yeah, absolutely. Facts. Could be in European final. I fully expect us to. We've played no one of note. I fully expect us to be in a European final. Let's call it for what it is. I know that you like to pretend it's not been an easy route. So do others, because it makes you feel better about how shit your opinions have been all year. But it's been a very, very nice, easy route. It's been a nice route. Rhythmic Renegades, Savva, if they win 2-0, do we go to pens? Well, it'll go to extra time. If they win 2-0, it'll go to extra time. I think that they will narrowly beat us on the night, and I think we will narrowly go through in the tie. I can't say that enough before people always want to have a pop at me, not you. Spurs have never spent well, so why are you pretending that Champions League football will mean that things will change? Again, Ryan, again, can I tell you why I don't like people like you? And I don't mean as in personally, but why I don't like the comments. Why am I pretending? I'm not pretending, but naturally you're going to be able to get better footballers if you've got something to offer them. Now, does that mean I think we go after top Champions League players? No. But it will mean we can go get down. It will mean get down. It will mean, sorry, not you guys. It will mean that we can go for better footballers if we're not in any Europe as opposed to the Champions League. Yeah. 1 second. You bear with me 1 second. 1 second, please. Hang on. Be careful when you come in. Sorry, bear with me. Well, bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to open the door. That's all I'm doing. All right, mate. Go on. You're just going to run back in here anyway. Stanley, you're literally just going to run back in here in a minute. Sorry about that, everyone. Sorry about that. So I hate this. When people say this, again, it shows the level of not understanding football. Why am I pretending that Champions League football will mean that things will change in recruitment? I can't argue with dumb. It's just silly. Ryan, you're being silly. Big up to my man when the Spurs go marching in. Said, morning, Savva. Good morning to you as well. Said, get yourself a drink, mate, as we watch Spurs march into the final. Fingers crossed. As you said, no excuses tonight. Get it done. Absolutely. No excuses. I've seen excuses all years. I've seen excuses all year. This excuse why we lost. This excuse why we're not in the top half. This excuse, that excuse, this excuse. Bottom of the V, injuries, this excuse, that excuse. And I'm bored of it. No excuses. Just go and get it done. Get to that final. R9, I said, can I talk about Xavi and where Tottenham go forward? Knock yourself out, mate. By the way, big up. Thank you for the super chat. Everyone knows I really appreciate super chats. I don't like it. There are some channels that just completely dismiss them. I don't like that. Lewis has said, time to kick the Spursy can down the road, but with Rodless Ange at the helm, that's looking unlikely. Got a feeling we'll lose tonight, but go through. Look, for me, listen, as you know, I'm not a fan of Ange, but he's had it very nice. You know, he can't turn around and say, oh, it's a tough European competition to win. He's had it nice. He's had some very nice ties. He's got no reason to not go through. We got to the Calf. I thought he'd forgotten how to log on to YouTube streams. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I've got a quiet morning this week. It's been a very interesting week, getting a load of admin done. VAT VAT is been filed, and hopefully I get a few quids back from my accountant, and hopefully it's going to be a relaxing day today. But knowing me, I turn up on this stream and suddenly I'll have like 30 customers. So it's just the way it is. I finally found myself a bit of time in the morning, and it's great. It's great to have a laugh.
Well, good morning to you, Ian. We're going to call you Ian from this morning. Good evening to you.
Holloway.
Yeah, but by the way, yeah, sorry if I do sneeze. Like, honestly, my eyes look like when I used to be hungover. My eyes are just red and sore from, you know, I've annoyed my wife so much in the night from sneezing, like just constantly. Just before I go in, hey, Sam, what's your thoughts on Robbie Lyle saying that those who qualify for Champions League group stages should get the advantage of playing the second legs at home? Sorry, what's your thoughts on Robbie Lyle saying that those who qualify for the Champions League? Sorry, I can't make that make sense. So Robert saying those who qualify for the Champions League group stages should get the advantage of playing second legs at home.
Would it have made a difference though, Savva? Would it have made a difference? They got beat at home as well. It didn't. It doesn't make a difference. They got battered at home. It wouldn't make a difference.
Yeah, I listen. What I find is when teams lose games, fans and people like that start coming out with all these different rhetorics of what should happen. Listen, the rules are the rules, right? Like us, we've played at home first. We've had our advantage. If we go out tonight, I'm not saying we will. You know me. I think we're going to go through. If we go out tonight, you'll have a lot of people that will start going, "Oh yeah, but it was unfair because it was a plastic pitch and because it was this." And you know what you're going into before the game. Ben, what do you make of tonight? Stel has said we're not going through. I have said we are going through. Which camp are you in? Are you in Team Stel or Team Savva?
I'm in teams. We should go through. If we do not go through tonight, I know it's Bodo and they're a good side. And to coin Mr. Angus, don't underestimate Bodo. Whilst he's underestimating PSG, you're in the mud, Angus. Sorry, buddy. I love Angus. I'm going to mud him.
Do you know the worst thing that happened to them, Ben? The worst thing that happened to Arsenal was this. It was not Arsenal, the team, winning against Real Madrid. It was Arsenal, the fan base, right? It was it was all of them going on to shows and in chats going, where's the apologies? It's like, whoa, hang on. That's the quarterfinals. That's the quarterfinals. Stop celebrating. Calm down.
Any team can beat any team on any given day. That is the magic of football. Tottenham Hotspur, as a football club, should be beating Bodo Glimt. They should be. We're much bigger. We are a much bigger football club, much more money, much more quality in our squad than they do, in my opinion, as looking at the two squads on paper.
Sure.
I know football isn't played on paper, it's played on grass. Big up Brian Clough. We should be going through tonight. We're 3-1 up. We've got a 2-goal cushion. We're good side on the counter-attack. All of our best performances this year have been when we've been up against it. We should be going through. It's all the more. The bigger you are, the harder you fall. And that is it. The bigger you are, the harder you fall. If we don't go through, you know what? We put our hands up and say, Bodo deserved to go through.
Yeah.
But we should go through tonight.
If God wanted the ball in the air, he would have put grass in the sky.
Yes. Correct. Correct.
Cluffy, I'll tell you, if anyone has never seen The Damned United, you've got to watch it. That is brilliant. And Martin Sheen is absolutely superb as Brian Clough. Ben, this is what I've said about Bodo and Spurs. The pressure, this sounds weird because we're 3-1 up. The pressure isn't on them.
Yeah.
This is a fairy tale for a club the size of Bodo. It's their fairy tale to get to the final. Right? Spurs were favourites to win the Europa League. Now, I didn't agree with the bookies on that. I thought there were 2 or 3 or 4 teams that should have been favourites. But we're expected to get there. Sometimes that's not the best. Sometimes it's not, because you know what happens? It's like when a team dominates, like, for example, when Man City are dominating football, whoever they play in semis and quarters, everyone supports the other team, right? Don't they?
Yeah.
Like, in the FA Cup final, who is everyone going to be supporting? Man City or Crystal Palace? Crystal Palace, right? It's going to be the same tonight across the world. Everyone other than Spurs is going to be supporting Bodo Glimt. It's their story to tell. It's their fairy tale. Yeah. That makes them dangerous because they've got nothing to lose. However, we should be, Stanley's got something. We should be professional enough that we are going to go through.
And most importantly, the world's going to be against Bodo. And they've proven to not be the greatest side when they're away from that artificial pitch. They home field advantage, it's a thing. But they've not been great away from home. They've not really been up to snuff. They've usually got an away goal, but then one at home. So if let's say they beat us tonight and they go to the final, no one's going to expect Bodo to win because they're not on our artificial turf. So this is sort of it's it's do or die for them. It's do or die. Whoever they're playing in the final is going to be overwhelming favourites if Bodo get to the final. Because they don't win away from home. They always get battered but score one. It's what usually happens. It's what they did against Lazio as well. You got battered but scored one.
Exactly.
Was it 3-2 or was it 3-1 at Lazio? When
Lazio beat them 3-1 at Lazio.
Yeah.
Lazio, because weren't Lazio 3-0 up? Bodo scored in the last minute to take it to extra time and penalties. Yeah. But do you know what I find well funny? It's like I've sat here and I've tried to be quite balanced with it. I said, I think we're going through, but at the same time, I think it's a tough game. Sure. When I say I think we're going through, I'm told I'm arrogant. If I sat here and said, Ben, we're getting knocked out, I'd be absolutely abused by everyone for saying you don't back the team.
You're never going to win. You're never going to win.
You can never win on YouTube. If I say a player's good, you love him. No. I think a player's good. Doesn't mean I love him. Oh, you wanted to sign this player. Well, no, I didn't. Oh, mate, honestly, just quickly before we go on, big up to my man, Sanctuary of 7 with a super sticker. Big up to you, always very generous. You lot have been very generous this morning. Let's check and see if you've been generous with the likes and the subscribes as well. Yeah, we've had 4 new subscribers, so welcome to you. Only 107 likes, so just about a quarter of you. Come on, let's get that up to about a half. Big up to Sanctuary. The big question tonight, Ben, the big question, and everyone, please feel free to join in with this question. There is no James Madison, which is a huge loss in terms of creativity. Not so damning if we're winning the game, because we don't necessarily need to score. Yeah. We do need to. We will struggle, I think. With that in mind, what sort of team do you go for? Are you packing the midfield? Are you getting Richie and Solanke up front as outlets and bullies? What are you doing tonight?
I'm playing all 3 of my combative midfielders. I'm playing Bentancur as our deep liar. I'm playing Basuma next to him because I thought those 2 were excellent in the first leg. Basuma's been very hit and miss this season, but in the first leg he was brilliant. At least I thought he was brilliant, and I think a lot of people agreed with me. And I'm putting Pape Sarr in front of him and say, you know what, Pap? Even though you can't put a pair of trousers on, run about and just run. And then I would put Kulusevski on the right wing. I'm setting us up and saying, Kulu, you've not been brilliant as a number 10 in the last few games because you've come back from injury. So what we're going to do is we're going to use something you have been doing, which is your work ethic. And I'm going to try and play him into form. I'm going to play Richarlison and Solanke because I think those 2 really caused Bodo a lot of problems, especially early in the game with Richarlison pressing their right back, which led to the first goal within 50 seconds. So I want Richarlison going up against their right back and causing problems. Basically, it's I'm anyone that can cause any sort of athletic aggression is what we need, because we're going to have to overload them because they're going to be pressing us. They've got to get a goal within the first 20 minutes of the game to give themselves a chance of getting back into the tie, because it is 3-1. But that's what I think. I'm packing the midfield with all my runners.
Yeah, for me, I'm looking to hit them on the break. For me, I feel like we saw in the first leg, and for anyone that's watched Bodo Glimt, they are a good passing team. Now, when they play at home, they pass with a little bit more vigor. They pass with a little bit more attacking threat. What we saw at White Hart Lane was, they dominated possession. They had some nice little intricate passing movements. They didn't really carry that final third threat. Today, I think they will. And as I said, everyone's on this. Berg, who plays for them, he will be the guy that just sits in there and keeps it nicely. Because of that, they're going to have to come out. We are going to have some space on the counter. That is exactly how I would play. Yeah. I agree with you. I would have Kulusevski out wide. I would pack the midfield free, and I would try and get the ball out wide to Kulusevski and Richarlison and ask them to hold it up. That's what I would go with. Kulu and Richarlison, get it into them. Both big, strong, powerful lads. Yeah. Hold it up. Solanke joining in with them, and I would have a midfield free that works and works and works. That is all I would do tonight. I wouldn't try and reinvent the wheel. I wouldn't try and play any crazy football. No need to be gung-ho. What we don't want to see, Ben, I don't want to see any of these sort of pictures tonight. I don't want to see any of this type of scenario. I don't want to see any of this type of scenario. We don't need to put ourselves in that danger.
In a way, we've got a copy of the Pep Guardiola formula. If you ever watch a Pep Guardiola team, every single time, he's always got 5 players ready to cover. That's what we've got to do tonight. We've got to say, you 5 are not leaving the halfway line. You are there and you are ready to soak up pressure and cause problems. I don't want Mickey van der Ven going past the halfway line. Firstly, because I don't want him running on artificial turf, because that's going to cause issues, especially with his hamstrings. But I want as much cover as possible in case of a springing overload or a counter-attack. We've got to make sure that we're in a position to stop that zip, because again, they do zip the ball quicker. The ball bounces just that bit quicker on an artificial surface. It's going to be raining. It's going to be quick. It's going to be difficult. The ball's going to be skidding all over the place, and it's.
So can I just got to say, I'm sorry. There's comments every now and then that get me. I won't accuse you of not backing your team, although you won't spend the money to go and watch the team. Well, Angelo, first and foremost, I didn't have a way of getting a ticket. Second of all, mate, I don't just have £1,400 knocking around where I can just go, yeah, I'm flying out to Norway for one day. What other people do with their circumstances is completely up to them. But Angelo, I'm going to tell you a little something. This is my job. Content creation is my job. If I'd gone to Norway, I couldn't have streamed last night. I couldn't stream today. I couldn't stream tonight or tomorrow. If I don't work for 3 days, that's a lot of money I don't make. So please, Angelo, I know you always go on other shows and have a pop at me. I've seen you do it, but aren't we just getting a little bit ridiculous? This isn't £100 ticket to go to Spain. This is £1,300 to go to Norway and back in one day.
Car, Savva. That is a car. That is a car.
Like, that's 1 month's rent for some people in London.
Yeah.
Are we?
Then the rest.
Is this what's going to be thrown at me now for not backing my team? Like, no offense. You know, when you just look at someone, you think, oh, you're a twat. Unfortunately, comments like that just do it for me. Like, sorry, I'm sorry, everyone. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I didn't splash out 1,400 quid to go to Bodo Glimt. Like, just madness. Just madness.
Saying that's up. Just a sec.
Just unbelievable. Dan, how you doing? Good morning, sir. You well?
Oh, no, I'm back indoors. Yeah, been a long morning. Had to take the dog out for proper grooming. Well, for its first proper grooming down the Pets Home and that. It's nearly 60 quid out of my bloody back pocket. And apart from that, in about 45 minutes to an hour, I should be in the wife's very good books for a present I just bought her.
Legend. Oh, hang on. He's not just having a pop at me. What is that from the Game of Thrones thing?
That's Game of Thrones egg.
I raise your Game of Thrones egg with the literal Holy Grail.
Dan, I'm so happy. It's not just me. You're a bozo as well, so it's all good. I'll take it back, Angelo. Say what you want. Well. You're mental, innit? It's absolutely mental, this twat. But look, guys, it's a massive game. It is a massive day because go through, we know the repercussions. If we go out tonight, this is our worst season for 40 odd years since we were relegated. It's huge, right? Like, there's no, normally it's like when we've gone out in European competitions, we've gone out, but we're always still somewhere in the league fighting for a European place, and it's not the be-all and end-all. This is the be-all and end-all, isn't it? This is, that's the difference with this European run, Dan, to others, that there's no fallback. There's no, oh, well, don't worry, we can still get Europa League or conference. This is it. This is it.
This for me, like a few others have said, I think this is. I mean, I said I think this is make or break for the next year or two, whereas others have said
Agreed.
for the next 3 or 4 years even, it is make or break. If we do not do this, Europa Cup, we are going to go so far behind. It is unreal. Because Man U, to me, whether they win it or not, they don't need it as much as we do. Why? Because we all know Man U will put the money on the table. They will have big wages to spend as they do. And even if they do finish 16th, 17th, they will still have the pulling power of being Manchester United and being able to slap the money on the table double of what we can.
Well, Dan, they're already in talks with Matthias Cunha.
Exactly.
Without any guarantee of Champions League football, they're in talks with Matthias Cunha.
They've also got a manager that people seem to like because he's got a lot of high potential on him. I mean, the fact that people have been saying get him out after 3 months and he's worse than Ange, I think was quite comical. And then you got to look at Chelsea, you got to look at Villa, you got to look at Newcastle, you got to look at Liverpool, you got to look at Arsenal. If we don't do that, get in that Champions League and get that money with at least some money and pulling power, we're about 8 or 9 clubs behind now, easily.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas at the moment, we're talking this season, we should be in what, 7th, 6th, 7th place fighting for sort of thing. Even maybe fighting for a top 5. No. If this don't go through, then we're going to be lucky if we're top 10 next season. In my opinion.
Do you know? I mean, Sanjesh, just quickly, please. Let's not talk about Vitinha and Archie Gray in the same sentence. Look, I think you're right, Dan. You know, before I said this on last night's show, and Ben as well said this on last night's show. Before, when we were striving to catch up with the big boys, lads, it was Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, United, City. Now you've got the big 4 above us. You've got Man United, who will, if they get back to the Champions League, be above us. You've got Newcastle in there. You've got Villa now getting in there. What if Forest get Champions League? We will fall so far behind. And this is what I've said. This is more than we haven't won a trophy in 17 years. This is massive, Ben, for what are we going to be for the next few years? Because
you could also say it could be a blessing in disguise, just like the team that went down in '76. All the crap players that were there all left because they all wanted first division football, and we returned to the first division a year later with a much better outfit. So it could be a blessing in disguise as well. We could get rid of a lot of the average players that we want there because we are going to be trimming the budget. It can go either one way. Either Levy gets his hand out of his pocket and decides, you know what, we're in serious issues now, and he's going to start spending to get us back to that level where we should be. Because let's face it, we are now a global superpower in terms of the money we generate. We are the amount of money we're physically able to generate through boxing, concerts. The Bad Bunny concert is going to make that's going to make a few million there. That's going to make a few million. We are a globe. Every time that stadium opens, it prints money. It prints minimum 7 million quid every single time.
Do you think
we are a financial superpower? So we should be able to bring forth some decent quality players to get us closer to where we need to be, and then the football club will do the rest. This again, it's the history of Tottenham, isn't it? When we're not in the Champions League and we're not in Europe, we usually spend more money to get back into Europe. That is the history of Tottenham.
True.
That is true. The issue could be, Savva, we could finish in the Champions. We could win the Europa League, and then Levy thinks I've done my job for the year, and we don't spend anything. That's another thing.
The difficulty though, Ben, and again, I don't want to sound like an accountant. I don't want to. This is normally, if we don't qualify for Europe, we're not 16th or 17th, and people have got to realize the revenue that is lost from this, from how bad we've been. And I've said it all year. All the people that are just saying, "Don't worry about the league," and they've said it for months. Don't worry about the league. Don't worry about the league. Don't worry about the league. That's fine as long as you win the Europa League. If you don't, you've now got. Listen, I saw a report the other day that was saying that Aston Villa, right, have made something in the region of 80 to 88 million pounds this year from the Champions League. Right? I don't know the exact numbers, and I don't care, if I'm honest.
Sounds about right.
80 to 88 million for getting to the quarterfinal of the Champions League, right? Now, Aston Villa would have also had what last year for finishing in the top 4 would have been what? I don't know what the prize money was, but it will be 40 odd million more than we're going to make this year for finishing 16th or 17th. So they've now got, just from this revenue and the revenue last year, not this year, not this year's Premier League, last year's Premier League revenue and this year's Champions League revenue, that's 120 million pounds, right? Now, whatever we want to say about Levy or any owners, 120 million pound is a hell of a lot of money for any business. That's a huge, huge chunk of money. Spurs don't get the Europa League. You've got none of that Champions League revenue next year. You're 37 million down on revenue. You're now looking at 120 million pound swing. That's a hell of a lot of money. So I get it. I get what people are saying. Like, don't worry about it. If we don't get it, we'll go again. But one, are we going to be attractive? If we don't even have we don't even have Conference League to offer, right? 2, is the money going to be there? I think you're going to see a very wheeler-dealer type summer if we don't win this. I think you're going to see Kulu and Romero will go, and it will be 70, 80, 90 million between the two of them, maybe 90, 100 million between the two of them, and then lots of 20 million pounds here, 30 millions there. I think be prepared. Be prepared for a tough summer and a very tough few years if we do not win tonight.
It's right what you're saying with the 2 ways it can go, yeah? I mean, we are probably in my opinion, one of the only clubs on the planet that can actually sustain itself without having to do what Chelsea does, i.e. bring up all the youngsters and sell them to get the money in, or get them, or win the competitions to get the money in. Same as City, same as other clubs. We are one of very, very few clubs that could finish 17th in the world and still be in a stable money place. And when I mean stable money place, I don't mean being able to go out and spend money, whatever, but we can support ourselves. We're one of the few clubs in the world that can actually do that. Even a lot of the other bigger clubs have it, that they have to sell off younger players, this and that, to bring in revenue and everything else. But that's not going to be much good to us if it's only keeping the club stable and we can't spend no bloody money. From the more and more I keep seeing of things, we're one of the richest clubs in the world, but we've actually got no money in the bank. It's all on shares. I don't know how true it is. That's what I keep reading. It's always
not true.
I don't know.
It's somewhat true, Ben. The problem is, I think people confuse cash rich, and asset rich.
Of course,
it's like when you look at when we turn around and say that guy, that girl is worth 400 million pounds. If you go and speak to that guy, that girl, they haven't got 400 million pounds in their bank account. It's not like they can withdraw 400 million pounds. They will be worth. By the way, I'm not saying this isn't bad. They're probably going to have 100 million in their bank, and then the other 300 million is going to be tied up in assets. Thing is with Tottenham, Dan, you're right.
Assets.
We can sustain ourselves. We can sustain ourselves, but we also people in the chat talking about but we don't need Champions League because you've got concert revenue, NFL. I don't think people understand how this stadium is paying for itself. I genuinely don't think people use their brain as to how the stadium is paying for itself, right? Spurs have to pay a mortgage, so to speak, every year, the debt against the stadium. Sure. So the money that's coming in from the concerts, the NFL, blah, 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 at the moment, it's not going to be pure. People seem to think it's pure profit. Oh, why don't we just use the revenue from NFL? Well, how do you think the stadium is being paid for? How do you think all the staff, how many staff do you think work at the stadium on any given event?
2,000 people, probably more. 2,000, 3,000 people.
Right.
Then you've got to pay the local. Then you've got to pay the local council to police the thing. Then you've got to pay the cleaners of the street. There's a hell of a lot of people are getting paid.
But we're in this stage, Ben, where a lot of people now can see it in the chat. People are just going, "Oh, well, we've got all the profit from the boxing." So what? Do you think at the end of that night, Daniel Levy sits in a room and goes, "Oh, look at all of that millions and millions and millions"?
No,
That's
it goes
pure
full
profit.
Scrooge. It goes full Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah,
He fills a swimming pool full of money and he jumps in it.
But if he brings in money if he brings a certain amount of money that we make off of the stadium, which we do make a hell of a lot, the stadium basically supports itself. This is debate I have with other people when they're saying, "Oh, we're in trouble, we're in debt paying it." No, wake up. We're in a bloody mortgage. That is all Levy has done. He's given us a mortgage for a stadium. I don't know many other people that would have gone out there and slammed, there you go, there's £1 billion on the table. We're not in debt, whatever. There's not many that would have done that.
Dan, it's things like this, though, where people are not educated. Look,
Levy
could pay off the stadium in full if he wanted. How?
No, Levy couldn't. Lewis could. Lewis could. Levy couldn't. Levy ain't that rich.
No one does that, Dan.
No one would.
No, I know.
No one would they?
I know. No, but I'm saying could. Could Joe Lewis do it? Yes, he could. Could Levy do it? No, he couldn't. Levy is not a multi-billionaire, yeah? He's a multi-millionaire, but he's not a billionaire. And Lewis is the one at the end of the day who says what goes and what don't go at the end of the day when it comes to the big money. The stadium can support itself. And then if we make extra off of that, yeah, that can go to that side. But that's a lot of money to support on the stadium. We do need the revenue of the football as well. But the amount of income we do have coming in, we should have a higher wage structure. We should have this and that. But then let's look on this on a positive side for once. If we do win that Europa Cup, that's obviously, we've got a cup. Brilliant. Still a disaster of a season for me, and the manager has to go under all circumstances. But then if this little plan is going ahead, what me and you were talking about, and a couple of others are mentioned, where he's just got what's his name in now? I can't pronounce his bloody name now.
Paratici.
Where he's just got Paratici in there, and we're pretty sure that he don't want Ange, and he's going to have a clear out of the whole system in now. And let's just, with a hit and hope that goes all the way down, that he has a clear out, gets a half decent manager in there who's got his own coaches, gets the scouting sorted out, and from there, next season could actually look quite positive. Because then we would be in the Champions League. We would have a better manager. We would have a better coaching staff, hopefully better on the scouting side, and people with more knowledge of football doing the job on the inside as well. So if this does go right for us, I don't think next season looks so bad. I think next season could be quite an interesting, good season. But again, it's all ifs, buts, and maybes. If we do not do this Europa, we are foobarred, basically.
Now that you've mentioned Paratici, Dan,
it's
obvious. Yeah. It's obvious who Paratici's target is. It's obvious who Paratici's target for a manager is. We have to win the Europa League because Paratici, from what I have heard, Paratici's target is Simone Inzaghi. That's the guy he wants to manage Tottenham.
It's not happening.
That's the guy he wants.
That's the guy I'd want, but it's not happening.
That's the guy he wants.
Yeah.
If anything, that's the guy he wants. He wanted Conte as well, and nobody thought that was possible, and he got him.
Yeah, but Conte was jobless.
Huge difference.
Conte was jobless, but he still paid him stupid money to get him.
Very true.
But, okay. So we rock up to Inzaghi.
Yeah.
Please tell me that I would almost judge Inzaghi if he left Inter Milan to come to Tottenham Hotspur.
I would as well.
I don't see it.
The only
way is if he is that interested in money. That is the only way we will be able to get him over it, in my opinion. Same as I say that a lot of players out there are more mercenaries than I think a lot of people think. Half the players that go over to Paris Saint-Germain, they don't go over there because they're loving their football and career and that. They go over there because they want the money. Like we can name their goalkeeper for me is one of the prime ones. He could have gone any club on this planet, any club. He went over to PSG because they offered the biggest money. End of. No ifs, no buts.
But
we don't offer that money.
Play? Look at the signings Inter Milan and Inzaghi make. Right.
For our team, it'd be perfect. For our team, it'd be perfect.
No, it wouldn't.
Not for the club. You have to separate the two things. For the style of play that our team can do, yes. for the
Yeah,
profile
for our team.
no.
For the
profile of the
players,
club, no.
have a look at Inter Milan over the last. How many years has he been
Mhm.
there? How many years has
2.
Inzaghi been at Inter Milan?
2.
Look at all the players Inzaghi signs at Inter Milan. They are all seasoned pros, much older, ready-made, massive wage.
It's not Tottenham.
The wage bills there ain't that big, Savva, on the ones
No,
he's
but
bringing in.
hang on. No, but you're missing the main point. You keep going back to that was just the main thing is you look at all the players. Look at the age of that Inter Milan team the other night.
Mhm.
Everyone playing for Inter Milan, look at the age of them. There's no youth, right? There's no youth in that Inter Milan team in any way, shape, or form, right? Everyone they sign is on a kind of free transfer, older. Paratici's remit isn't going to get people of that age. Spurs' remit isn't going to get people of that age. The style of play, sure. But this is not a coach. Inzaghi is not a coach. He is not someone that is upskilling younger players. He's got, look at that midfield, Barella, Çalhanoğlu, and Mkhitaryan.
Quality.
3 season
Quality
pros.
midfield,
Been there, seen it, done it. Oh, Tottenham don't sign players like that. Tottenham will not sign players like that. Look at the back three. Yeah, Bastoni who came through for them. Cherby, who's a senior pro, right? DeMarco, who's a senior pro. Lautaro Martinez. There's a huge difference between coming to Tottenham and being given young players and said, right, coach, build, grow, and being at Inter Milan where it's, I want that player. I don't feel like fans still get what we are.
Yeah, on what you're saying, there's a reason to it.
Inter Milan. It's the interesting thing with the new CEO. That is an important thing because we don't know what we're going to be next season. The culture of the club can change. No one knows. We're sort of in a. We've never had a CEO before. Daniel Levy has always been the chairman of the football club. What he says goes. I think this is the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, everyone. I think this is the first time where we've had a chief executive officer who is going to have more power. I think we're going to see Scott Mann go. I think Johan Lang's going to go.
Yeah, they're all going to go.
They're all going to go. This is, we don't know what Spurs are going to be this season. I don't think anyone knows what we're going to. It's going to be a very interesting summer. That first couple of weeks of the transfer window.
What was Paratici when he came in the first time, Ben? Paratici will look at youth. He was bought in. He completely revamped the youth setup. Right? Listen.
But look at Inzaghi, Savva. This isn't necessarily Inzaghi's choice. Yeah. When you look at Italian football as a whole, the majority of the teams do have a higher age than a majority of the rest of the teams in Europe because they have to. The Italian league is one of the most ripped apart leagues in the world when it comes for money and lack of it. They don't have the money to go in and bring in. The average club there doesn't have the money to bring in, say, 4 25-year-old players on 150 grand a piece, whatever, and that. They have not got that sort of money out there. That's why they go for the older, experienced players. But that's my issue. Is
Inzaghi works with older, experienced players, Dan?
He has done, yes.
Right. So my worry is that we've got no evidence from Inzaghi that with what we've got at this club, he is suited to it. That's my worry.
Remember, Savva, what is happening with Inter Milan this year and AC Milan in particular? They're knocking down their stadium. It might be a difficult couple. It might be, and that is a big project. If you think the new White Hart Lane is a big project, the project of building the brand new San Siro or whatever it's going to be called, or the Giuseppe Meazza, what they're going to call it, they're
still in the big debate, Ben. They're still having that big problem of that Inter don't want to stay there with AC Milan, whereas AC Milan want to stay there with Inter. That's where there's going to be a massive problem.
I think it's the other way around.
No. Inter have blown out AC. No, AC have blown out.
Building their own stadium. They
are building
their own. I don't care about their stadium, right? Let's bring this back to football. First and foremost, why? The obvious. Why would Inzaghi want to join Tottenham? That for me is the biggest stumbling block before we talk about anything. Second of all, this is a guy who's used to playing with top senior pros. I think it would be like when Conte and Jose are here. This guy's going to look around and go, these players can't do what I need them to do. He would grow frustrated. Within 18 months, I think we're exactly back to where we were, right? I will say this till I'm blue in the face. We need a coach. We need a coach. We don't need a manager that gets the best players, puts them in square pegs in square holes. That, you're going to hate me for saying it, that is what Arsenal need with a new manager. Arsenal need a Simeone. Arsenal need an Inzaghi. Arsenal need a winner because they've done all of the rest of it apart from win. Spurs, we've got something like 17 players on the books that are under 22 years of age. They need coaching. They need someone to come in. And for me, this is the guy that I think ticks every single box. Every box. Right?
Yeah.
You see here that Xavi has said, I want to return as a coach again. Right? And I love that word, coach. I'd like a good project, something like you have 4 years to work and make a project type of thing. I would love to work in the Premier League. For me, this guy is senior enough in his management career that you go, yeah, but he's not Jose Conte levels of years and years and years and years and years and years. He works with young players. He's come through the best academy in world football himself. Yep. So he understands the importance of blooding the young players, coaching them, growing them. When he joined Barcelona, he was giving everyone gets a chance, doing this, that, the other. Now, yes, I know the first comment I'm going to get back in the chat will be the players he's going to have at Spurs won't be the level of Barca's academy. I get it. But this is our academy that we've built. Donnelly, Moore, right? Bought in Vuskovic. That's who we need, in my opinion, not an Inzaghi, not a win now manager that needs. Look, I love Inzaghi. It's not that I don't love him. I'm going to sit here and say I've got to be very consistent, and I'll bring you in, Mark. That in the Inzaghi thing, and by the way, I don't think is realistic, has every vibe as to why I said Conte was not the right man for this football club. Sure. They're going to rock up. He's going to go, hang on, I want to sign Çalhanoğlu on a free transfer. I want to sign Taremi. I want to sign, and Spurs will be like, these players are in their late 20s, early 30s. We're not signing them. And he'll be like...
He's not the same as Conte. I think you're putting him up a bit too high on that. I totally agree. Not necessarily the thing we need.
Show me where he's done it with young players.
Lazio had younger players when he was doing it with them, and he had a pretty mid team with them. He had a team of younger ones and he had older ones with them. They weren't all on the same age level as Inter Milan. I don't think he's quite on Conte's level. I think he's a step down sort of thing when it comes to it, if you get what I mean. But I agree, he's not necessarily what we need. We need a coach. Yes, that's basically what I'm saying. I don't think he's the sort that is quite up there yet that you bring in as a Conte or a Mourinho because you want the job finished. I don't think he's quite up to that standard yet. Give him another season or two, yes. But I agree with you. Someone like Glasner or Savva or whatever would be better for us.
Yeah,
I'd play Chappie in midfield. I'd have him in midfield next year. Yeah, player manager. I'd have him in midfield. His levels above our midfield.
Welcome to the show, mate. I hope you're well. I've been adamant for ages that we need a coach, and I'll be honest, Mark. I'm not too old and I'm too old and too ugly to not admit when I'm wrong. When I was happy with Ange coming in, I was told by everyone that he would coach young players. I was told of everyone that he was a good coach and adapted. I was wrong on that, but I was told that, and I believed that. Do you think we need a coach more than anything, or do you think we need a manager? Because there is a difference, right, Cookie? There's a massive difference.
Yeah. Morning, Savva, Dan. Morning. Nice to see you all. And the chat, by the way. A coach, I think, is imperative for our team now for where we are. You know, more than anything for me, if a coach comes in, I also think it's imperative that he brings his coaching staff with him.
Correct.
Yes.
I've had enough of this, we get this manager and then it's odd bods in the backseat. You know, everyone's got to be cleared out, Sav. You know, as far as I'm concerned. If we're going down the route we seem to be buying younger players. Again, listening to your conversation earlier, I think it's imperative for the club that we win this Europa League, because of the money that we've lost in Premier League placing. Winning the Europa League could replace some of that. But coaching, again, it's imperative. We've got players like Gray and Bergvall, Moore, lots of others, that with someone like a Xavi, who we've seen do his work at Barcelona, we know what he's all about. And like you say, it's not like he's a brand new coach coming in. He's done it for a season. He's very, very good at what he does. I've got no doubt in the dressing room he would be very well respected from seniors as well as the young players.
Bang on.
And
Bang on.
What you brought up there at the beginning about Xavi would like a project. I'd like 4 years. It's leave his remit, isn't it? It's leave his remit. It's there.
Right.
It's there for him. So for me, if we could get Xavi, if we couldn't get Xavi, it seems like it's going, and I seem like I'm following everyone else, but a Glasner who could settle everything down, bring his system in, square pegs, square holes, round pegs, whatever you want to call it, play players to their what they're best at, rather than trying to get them to do shit that they're not good at. What we're seeing now.
Like play
and
football.
Then we just need to move on, man. We just need to move on and get a coaching for me.
Do you think? Do you think that it is? I mean, I've seen a lot of people talk about it and go on about it. Yeah, I would pass. I don't really care about what system we play at Spurs, because I agree with what you say, Savva. I don't even think we know who we are anymore. Yeah, I just think there's too many Spurs supporters out there. No. Spurs play this football, we've got to have this, and that is all there is to it. I've seen people say that if we go and get a more pragmatic manager, which is what I would prefer, but it's just purely my style of football, where I like Italian football. Oh no, we'd have to change the whole system again. No, we wouldn't. If anything, getting a bit more of a pragmatic manager with three at the back, I think there's a lot less that we need to rebuild in there. Because this team, again, for me, is screaming for a 3-5-1-2 or a 5-2-2-1 or a 5-2-1-2, whatever you call it. It's got it written all over it. I think bringing in a manager who would play three at the back, there's less work on rebuilding this team as such. Whereas if you want to bring one in who plays four at the back and 4-2-3-1, whatever else, I think there's a lot more you got to rebuild on that team than if you play, say, a 3-5-2 or 5-2-2-1 or whatever else. But that's my opinion.
We can have this conversation, Dan, because we got four different generations of where they started supporting Tottenham. What is the Tottenham way? I don't think the Tottenham way.
Tell me.
I don't think the Tottenham way has existed since 1988. That was the last time I think there was a Tottenham way.
I honestly don't know.
Since Scholar came in, I don't think there's been a Tottenham way. We've had so many different styles of football, and people are harkening back to the 60s where we won the double and we won the FA Cup. We were the Super Spurs and we played this style of football. I don't think the Tottenham way has existed for years. If I speak to my mate Graham, you all know Graham, you boys have met him at the protest. He would say the Tottenham way is winning. That's what he thinks, but it's not been that since the 80s. He would say the Tottenham way is winning with style.
We talk, I think as Spurs fans, we talk so much about like what any Anjin fan always throws at me. You wanted attacking football, now you've got it, you want to go back to pragmatic. Whoa. First of all, we've got to stop throwing words out like pragmatic, attacking. I want a coach. I want a coach that knows in game, you know what? These next 15 minutes are going to be tough. Right. Do you know what we're going to do? We're going to scrap what we normally do. Right. 3 centre mid, sit in. You know what? This team are there for the taking. We're going to go higher with the wing backs today. I want a coach that coaches. I want a coach that understands that you also, as you attack, you also need to be a little bit mindful that, you know what? The other team might get the ball and attack. That's all I've asked for. I want a coach that just does a normal job in football. We're so radical now. Everyone for a bit wanted the Pep Guardiola's system was Pep Guardiola's system. It worked because
he changes
knew
it
how
every
to do
year.
it,
He changes it every season.
But that's the point. Pep knows how to tweak it. Look at the year where Man City weren't doing very well in the league, and then he suddenly changed it. Kyle Walker suddenly went from being a right back to kind of sitting in a back three that pushed into the centre midfield. When he went to Bayern Munich, what he did with Lahm, took Lahm from a right back, kind of pushed him into that. Pep can do that because he's the best coach in world football, right? Yeah. Everyone else seems to want these really intricate. We want this and we want that and we want innovation. Just want to coach. But now coaches are seen as boring. Frank, boring. Glasner, boring. Silva, boring. Why are they boring? What? Because they work on the defense, the midfield, and the attack. But our fans have got so used to now this gung-ho style from Ange, right? That they say things like, when I went on Spurs Kings the other day, I rocked up. The first thing I heard on stream was, I don't know if we need a back three manager because of the tactics that we currently play. My first thing I said on the show was, what tactics do we play? What? The next manager coming in has got it easy. There are no tactics at Spurs. The next manager has to come in and go, tell you what, we're not going to play a back two. We're going to play a back four. We're going to go back to a back four. And straight away, Spurs won't lose as many games. This is not difficult. Everybody needs to stop this notion that football has changed so much that we need to be innovative and creative with every single game. I'm so
exactly.
White,
I think the thing with it is every manager has their style, yeah? So whether the manager's going to come in and he's going to be more pragmatic or attacking is a fact. Every manager has got their own style of what they prefer of how their team plays. But then it's like what I've been saying all season, what you've been saying, and Ben's been saying, and Stel and Alex and everyone else, Michael, Maz, the whole lot, have all been saying, yeah, fine. But we need a manager who can play with the cards he's got and can adapt to a game. So maybe he usually likes playing a little bit more pragmatic football and counter-attacking football, which would look much better with the team we've got at the moment because it's when we've played our best all season. But then knows when he goes against, let's say, a bit of a lesser club that we should be beating, that he goes a bit more attacking with it. Or that he can do it in the middle of a game where it's like, yeah, things are getting hard now. We're 1-0 up, 15 minutes to go, and he knows how to shut up shop. Or he knows when to send everyone forward for it. But every manager is going to have their basic idea style of play. But we need him to be we just want a flexible manager, basically, is what you're saying. One who can play with the cards he's got and he's willing to change it on the day if he has to.
I want a manager that walks into the club. Like right now, if you walk into this club, you've got to do one of two things. Right? I think you've got to weigh up, right, how good are my wingers versus how good are my wing backs? There's the first thing I would do. I would say if I want width, the width for me, this is really basic. The width for me shouldn't be coming from Tell, from Johnson, from Odeberth. The width should be coming from Porro and Udogie. There's my width from Porro and Udogie, right? A new manager might come in and go, you know what? I don't want to play Porro and Udogie. I actually want to go to a flat back four. I'm going to get two new fullbacks. Fine. But do what you need for your system. At the moment, we're playing a weird system, but that doesn't get the best out of anyone. And I just want to coach. I'm not being greedy, guys. I'm not greedy. I'm not sitting here and asking for Ancelotti or Klopp or Pep. I just want to coach.
We've got a selection of very talented attacking players, and you can't teach talent, but what you can teach is defensive solidity, defensive positioning. That's all we need to do. We need to coach defensive rigidity and discipline into the team. If we do that and we teach discipline into the team, I think this is a very decent outfit. You can teach Porro how to defend. You can't teach him how to whip a ball in. That's all natural. That's natural talent and quality. Of course, you can work on it and make it better. But if you've got that talent of being able to whip a ball in or be able to shoot from 30 yards, it's something they can't teach you. It's what you're given from the football gods. I know we like talking about the footballing gods. if we get a coach that teaches us how to defend in any shape or form, I think we look like a decent team. We've got a few players that are very much adaptable. I know you hate talking about him, and now I've said his name. Lubo's going to come straight into the stream. One of the things, although I think it's bad for his development overall, but Archie Gray is very adaptable.
Is he?
I think
he's
adaptable.
How are we at the feet of Archie Gray? How are we possibly putting Archie Gray into this conversation?
I think Bergval's very adaptable. I think Van der Ven's very adaptable because he can switch from a centre back to a left back. I think we've got players that
he can do that. I think Gray has just been.
If you teach them discipline, I think they look better because discipline is very, very important for a football team. And
so you would say these players are adaptable that we've got?
I think they're adaptable. I don't think
so. Why can't they adapt to Angie's system then?
Because Ange doesn't have a system.
Because his system is bonkers. Because it's bonkers.
No, you see, I think half the problem is like it's Ange all the way, but the players they just can't adapt to how Ange wants them to play either.
Who could?
Doesn't make them worse player. Some players can adapt.
Prime AC Milan couldn't adapt.
You are never going to get Porro. You are never going to get Porro adapting to a right back. It's not happening. He's not a good enough defender to do it in a million years. Archie Gray is not adaptable. He has played as a right back and a centre back because he has had no other choice but to be thrown on the pitch in the middle of it and do it. And he's done an okay job with it. For me, that don't make him an adaptable player. He's just playing where he's told to be playing. Yeah. I mean, if you want to go and put a striker as a defender one day and he has a good game as a defender, is he that adaptable? No, I haven't seen enough.
Yeah, but Dan, there's a difference. But there's a difference.
Porro don't defend.
Hang on.
He's not a defender.
Forget
but
Porro.
You can teach him how to defend. You can teach people how to defend.
It doesn't mean he'd be good at it.
Hang on. Forget Porro, right, for a second. Forget individual players. There's a difference between being adaptable in what is a very well-drilled, well-oiled system and the players understanding what it is, and being adaptable in what is a wide-open kamikaze way of playing. For example, most games when you watch Tottenham play, I don't know which midfielder is doing what, right? Hence why Bergval, for me, I think is a very talented midfielder, is literally running all over the place. He's all over the place because he's trying to do too much. The system gets players caught out of position and he's having to cover Bentancur's here, there, everywhere. Basuma gets stick all the time. How many times Basuma is running back like a headless chicken trying to put out fires? However, if you had a proper coach that coaches a midfield free to work and simultaneously rotate, it works. You can't adapt to non-existent tactics. You've got to have the premise of a tactic. You've got to have the premise of an ethos. And unfortunately, Ange's ethos is wide open. Like, I've read all these people that think they're really clever when they talk about, well, Ange's style is actually about overwhelming the other team and having the... It's like, sure, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work in theory.
It ends up overwhelming ourselves because we're having to... It's overthinking. Exactly. You've got so many things to think about.
If you've got Rodri, right? And now I'm going to the other end of the spectrum, guys, right? I think we probably all agree Rodri's the best midfielder in world football. Right? Agreed. For years, he's just been absolutely sublime. Rodri is intelligent enough. Rodri is good enough at every aspect, the defending side, the passing side, getting into space, tackling, whatever, that Rodri will do it himself on the pitch because he's that good, right? Modric, that player, they'll do it. Yeah. Problem is, when you're not managing those players, you have to give them structure. When you're not managing those players, you have to make sure that everyone knows what they're doing. And this is why I really, really rate managers like Iriola, like Frank, like like Silva. Because it doesn't matter who's injured for them. It doesn't matter who comes in. The player that can come in can be 50% worse than the starting player. But they know the job they're stepping into. So the drop-off of the actual performance of the individual might be worse, but the team doesn't drop because they know what they're doing.
They hold
That's
each
why
other up.
Bournemouth-
They hold each other up. It's
Right.
like they hold each other
That's
up.
why Bournemouth, Ben, during that spell where they had 8, 9, 10 injuries, won something like 11 of 14 Premier League games because, he's dropped out. I know that role. People are dropping into Spurs team going, what? Like, you're dropping Archie Gray into centre half with no right back covering him. Most managers would go, right, we've got a young kid at centre half today. He's not a centre half. Right, you as the right back, stay with him. I don't want you 10 yards away from him. No, gung ho. Can't do that, man. You can't.
Or
be
even
gung-ho.
worse, in particular, Archie Gray. 1 week he plays left back, the next week he plays right back, which is even though they're the same even though it's just the opposite side of the field, your geography changes when you're on the different side of the pitch. Your geography's changed. Then next week, instead of playing right back 2 games in a row, he'd play right back 1 week, centre back the next week. On the first day, he'd play left centre back.
I agree.
Young players need structure. In particular, they need structure. Young people in general need structure.
Structure.
I agree with what you're
important.
saying about Gray, but he doesn't get told to do that because he's an adaptable player. He just gets put there to do it because there's no one else there at the time. Simple as that. Bergville would not have got a look in this season if it wouldn't have been for the injuries. Spence probably wouldn't have even got a look in this season if it wouldn't have been for the injuries.
Now, is he? After that interview, he's getting no look in at all.
But you see what I'm saying? Gray, he would have got a look in on the odd little game against Carrier Bag or something, same as Bergville and, well, not even Spence would have.
That is true.
A few of these players, he's not Archie Gray going into left back, right back, centre back because he's an adaptable player. He got slammed there because there was no one else to put there. I think he done a respectable job in what he did. Fair play to him. And what they done against Liverpool, and should have had social workers knocking on his door for that one because that was criminal. You'd have lost your kids for that. You'd have lost. If you'd done that to your own kids, you would lose them. That was terrible, yeah? But at the end of the day, I don't want to go into it. He's not ready for the Premier League as far as I'm concerned. And he's not an adaptable player just because you can drop him in a position and hope that it works as such.
This is where you do need a player that brings in experience as well. Like Højbjerg would have been very important. Højbjerg, as much as a load of people said he wasn't good enough, and he wasn't good enough. I wasn't one of those people. I did say Højbjerg wasn't good enough, but a Højbjerg would have been great for our midfield this year because something Savva likes to talk about, and we talk about. Højbjerg's a talker. You need talkers in your team. And I think we've only really got one talker in our team, and it's James Madison. He's the only person that's talking during games. And you need those talkers to be able to say, right, now you're going here. You're going here. And when you've got a young player that hasn't played that position, you need an experienced head next to him to coach him for a game. Because players can be coaches as well. Players can coach their partners for a game. That's why you've had you had the Vidic and Ferdinand. You had the cultured one. And you had the bulldozer. You have that.
Ben, I get why Højbjerg's not here, right? I get why he's not, right?
Sure.
And again, we can talk about ability. I'm going to remove his ability level now. I'm going to talk about his mobility level.
Yeah.
This is the problem with Ange's system, right? This is why he went hell for leather for Conor Gallagher. To play this chaotic system, you need legs. This is why I don't think Højbjerg would work in this system, because Højbjerg would be... Listen, Højbjerg does a job at what he does. I've got no doubt about that, right? For me, I want a Højbjerg with legs and a little bit more about him. This is why you need a Conor Gallagher in this system, right? This is why you need an N'Golo Kante. I'll tell you who'd be good in this system.
Manu Kone.
Manu Kone, of course. But even if we're looking at lower level players... Someone like Idrissa Gueye at Everton. Not now, I'm not saying sign him. Players like that. They run.
Sissoko would be great in this system. Sissoko.
If you only want runners, you take away passing, you take away intelligence, you take away ability to put the foot on the ball. This is the problem. So Basuma is asked to run around like this chicken. Then, when he's in the number 6, we're going, he's passing out the back isn't good. No shit, Sherlock. No shit, Sherlock. That's because it's not what he does. You know, I just feel like, again, perfect example. perfect example of a very average footballer who their manager gets the best out of them because he plays in a solid system. Will Hughes is, no one's going to talk about Will Hughes as a top player. Since Glasner's come in, every time I watch Palace, Will Hughes does a great job. Right? Because it's a system. He knows it. Because Palace don't ask their players to go gung-ho. He knows he's got Wharton next to him. Right? He knows he's got, whether it's Kamada or Lerma next to him. The basics have gone. Tottenham have no basics, guys. We've got no basics. And it's great. When it works, we look brilliant. But 19 defeats in the league, 23 defeats in all competitions tell you that this system doesn't work. And the last thing I'll say before I hand over to Mark, 'cause he hadn't talked for a while. When people talk to me about injuries, teams should not fall off a cliff this drastically because of injuries. The system should sustain itself to a point where, yeah, you drop off, but you're not going boom in free fall.
Yeah, I agree with that, Savva. Excuse me. It's just going back again to what you said about, structure, system, tactics, getting players to do what they're best at, the manager finding out what they're best at. It's so important for me. We are the word you use, mate, gung-ho. We're just all over the place for me. That it's just we know what's coming every week. Now, what I would like to see is Savva tomorrow night out the second leg against Frankfurt. Like Dan said, the word pragmatic was there. But if you watch the game, Frankfurt away, as good or as rubbish as you think these players are, right? Tell and Johnson dropped back to make a 4 in midfield when we didn't have the ball. So then what you was talking about, Bergvall, Bentancur, whoever's there, running around like headless chickens, putting out fires, there was a bit more structure there in that second leg. I know we gave a few chances away towards the end, but the structure was there when we didn't have the ball generally, and I think that makes a big difference to us as a team at the moment, especially as we've got, for tonight, no Madison, no Bergvall. So I think tonight, the structure of what he puts out there and the tactics that he sets out either wins us the game or gets us through or it doesn't get us through. It's very important tonight how he sets up, I believe.
I completely agree with you, mate. By the way, the likes, come on, people, smash that like button. We should be nearly at 300. We're only on 197. And the subscribers as well. We've lost 5 subscribers today, which is really disappointing. Everyone putting in their hours, giving you their time, and we're losing subscribers. Terrible, terrible people. Please smash that button. And big up, Ben. I know you need to jump off, mate. So if you need to jump, really do appreciate you. And enjoy the games tonight.
We'll do. Well, probably won't. We'll probably be hiding behind the sofa. But we'll bet. Hopefully to get a win on the way to Bilbao. And big up, everyone. Thanks for having me as always, Savva. And good to see you as always, boys. Cheers, everyone. Cheers.
Thanks, Ben. Take care. Yeah, I mean, guys, for me, I just think that I can tell from looking at comments of people, the same people that comment every day, who actually understands football and who just says things for the sake of it. Like no one can tell me they watch this Spurs team and go, good coach. No one can. He's not a good coach, right? That doesn't mean we can't win the Europa League because of the draw. But in the Premier League, what we've seen over a sustained period of time is that this man doesn't know how to counter his opponents. This man never, either doesn't or won't look at the opposition and say, I need to negate that. I.e., look at Aston Villa in the FA Cup game. Everyone knows how Aston Villa play. First minute, gung-ho, everyone's in their half, Aston Villa counter. Thinking, surely going to Villa Park, you're saying, sit in 5-10 minutes, Don't let the likes of Rashford and Morgan Rogers have space over the top. Not Spurs. Not Spurs. That's the big thing for me, guys. It's just that we don't seem to coach. I know that word will be driving people crazy. This is what he's paid $5 million a year. Coach, upskill, change, adapt, amend. It's not difficult for me.
He just does not. He just knows only one way to play, and he will play it his own way, and that is going to be the death of him. Simple as. You've got to adapt in certain games. There's going to be other games where you can have both. You could even get away with playing two inverted wing backs once in a blue moon. There's certain games where you can charge it forward and put the pressure on, but there's other games where you got to put two players on one player or even three players close to one player. He doesn't do none of it. He's got his basics, well, if he even understands them, for down on the pitch, and that's it, and go get on with it. Very rarely do you ever see him change anything for a game. Like even change a player on the pitch for a certain game, because that player would be more adaptable to that game to sort out that player than the player's already there. Like bringing on Spence instead of a Doji because we need someone who's more defensive, who's better at defensive, that can cover someone coming down the left, for example. It's still just slam a Doji on there, unless there was no other option, sort of thing. And he just has not adapted to football, period. He don't know how to do it.
I think this is a good... Sorry, Mark. Can I just ask you?
Jumping in. Go on, mate.
I just want to. I think Ellie makes a good point. It's almost like it's such a vanity project that until his job is on the line, nothing changes. It's almost like he knows it's not working, but he's so adamant to the rest of the world that no, I'm going to prove that my style does work. But you look at everything that's got us through in Europa. It's not been his style. It's been when he changes. So that's a real concern for me, Mark.
Yeah, I think more than anything else, what cheeses everyone off is that we know we're not all football managers, but we watch football and have done all our lives, you know. And I think it cheeses everyone off when you're seeing the same. And like Dan said, you know, you don't see a reaction during a game. You know, the ineptness of what goes on, you know, it might be 55 minutes, we're 1-0 down. Come on, let's change it now. No, he leaves it till 75, 80, 85 minutes, you know. And I think it drives a lot of fans up the wall. A lot of his team selections, what he's chosen in the past, his pressers, his attitude with fans. And I think a lot of fans have just had enough, mate. And they just, you know, just want to get the season over. Hopefully we win the Europa. We all want our team to win. But for me, I just want him out, mate, and I want to coach him. I've wanted him out for a long time. I don't want him here no more. He's like Dan said earlier, he's not adaptable. He's not adaptable. You don't know what he's doing on the pitch. You can't work out what he's setting up. And you're just expecting the same thing every week, apart from the odd game like Frankfurt the other week, where it did slightly change. So
no, look, I agree. Listen, just quickly, Sky Sports will put some information on. I thought was quite interesting. Just chucking it out there. They put Bodo Glimt's home record in Europe since the start of the 2020-2021 season. Played 37, won 30, drawn 1, lost 6. The goal difference is plus 70. But the key thing for me is this: wins by 2+ goals. 21 games in those 37, they've won by 2+ goals. Just thought that was interesting. Then Sky Sports moved to some James Madison stats in Europe this season. And I think this is very interesting as well. So James Madison, this is just in the Europa League this season. His goal contributions is 6, which is second in the Spurs rank. Chances created, he's first with 19. Touches, 561, fifth. Touches were final third passes completed first with 140, and fouls won 22 first. And again, I think that highlights, guys, one, if we look at the Bodo stats, they are good at home and they do win by 2+ goals, which is why we shouldn't write them off. Not saying they're going to win, but it's going to be difficult. And the James Madison stats show this guy is so important to everything we do going that way on a pitch. He's so important. Final third passes, fouls won, chances created, goal contributions. This is almost to say this is the reason we're there. Is James Madison?
To an extent, yeah, he's our creativity. I don't think we'll miss Madison that much in this game unless it comes to a point where we desperately need to get to a goal. Whereas in the next game is where I think we're going to severely miss Madison. I think this is a game you can go without even having Madison on the pitch and you can still get something out of it. We can still win it or at least only lose by 1 goal. It's the final, if we go through to it, is where I think we are really going to miss Madison in a big, big way. This game, I'm not so bothered that he's not playing. Of course, I'd rather have him playing, but the fact that he's not playing, okay, I think Kulusevski can get on there and cover that role for this game. Would I want him doing it against Man U or Bilbao? Yeah, if we play a different way, I think we have to do. If we're going to use a playmaker, we got to use Bentancur and use it deeper, and then go even deeper and use Porro as sort of playmaker as well, and then play Kulusevski as the shadow striker, a pressing, attacking forward like we did with Dele Alli. Basically, we'd have to start.
I just don't think he looks fit, though, Dan.
He does look rusty at the minute. He does. He does. I agree. He looks rusty as at the minute. And just an answer
the difference
quickly,
for me is
someone. I'm not saying Kulu does what Madison does. If some people decide to actually listen, I'm not saying that. I just stated exactly why I would put Kulu there and how I would play him totally differently. He is not a playmaker in the middle. He's more of an old school Dele Alli. Look what he does for Sweden and does a bloody good job at it. He's not a playmaker. But for a number 10, who else have we got there that we can really play and try and play as a playmaker? If we was to play him that way. What people are saying, stick Mikey Moore there, for God's sake. The boy's 17. Got no experience whatsoever.
At the end of the day, Dan, all we've got is Kulusevski to come in, isn't it? You know, Madison out, Bergvall out, and he is going to be pretty much your creative player tonight. Who else is there? Who else is there?
It's like I said, he doesn't have to be. You could. I would personally play, if we played the 4-2-3-1, I would go and stick Kulu there and I'd use him as my shadow striker, basically, like Dele Alli used to behind Kane. And then I would have Bentancur in midfield and tell him to be more my playmaker, because he did it at Juventus when he did DM and deep line playmaker as well. No, he's no Madison or whatever, but he's one of the few players we've got that have got a bit of an intelligent with a good direct ball forward. And then if you want to go even deeper, you use Porro also as your playmaker to keep pumping the balls over the top to try and get it over to Bentancur or over to Kulusevski to take it further from there. I'm just trying to get ways out of any sort of creativity on this team, because without Madison, no, we have no playmaker at all. So then that is what I call adapting to a system and working and getting the best out of other players to try and get some creativity.
I don't disagree.
That's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah, Kulu's an attacking midfielder. James Madison's a playmaker. They want
exactly that.
James Madison is. Do you know what? When I played with this kid called Ben, right? And Ben Roberts, he was brilliant at our level. He was brilliant. Ben Roberts, wherever you were on the pitch, right? Ben made himself available, and you knew if you got the ball into Ben, right? You knew he already knew where his next touch was going. Right foot, left foot. He could go that way. He must have had a million touches a game. Obviously, I'm being facetious, but it was everything. Ben, where's Ben? Madison's that guy for Spurs. Whenever Spurs get the ball, you watch Madison drops left, he drops right, he drops deep. He's the one. Give me the ball. I want the ball. That is my worry tonight, is how do we get the ball to those guys? That's my worry. But as Dan said, at the moment, you're 2-0 up. It's not a worry. It will become a worry if they go 2-0 up tonight. It will become a worry of, right, how do we play? And this is where people, I think, will finally start seeing the difference between Madison and Kulu. People have been comparing them all year. I don't want them doing the same. They're not the same footballer. That people have got to understand you can be the same number on a pitch without doing the same job. Madison, for me, though, everything we've seen there, the touches, the goal contributions, the chances created, the fouls won. Don't underestimate that, by the way. Fouls won. Players like Madison, players like Grealish are very good at protecting the ball They know where to put their body so that the defender fouls them. And that does two things. One, goal scoring opportunities in the final third. Two, takes pressure off the team, right? We don't have that. And this is the difference with Kulu. Kulu doesn't know how to do that. And when he's dispossessed quite easily. Hence the stats, he's the second most dispossessed player in the Premier League because he wants the ball too long. He holds on to the ball too long. And his final third decision-making isn't generally good. Now, that doesn't mean he's not a good goal scorer. It doesn't mean that he can't produce something. But for me, the drop-off from Madison to anyone in that midfield is huge. Absolutely huge. Yet Madison all season has been the scapegoat by this manager. Madison all season is the one, you're coming off after 60 minutes. Actually, so-and-so's fit. You're not playing today. Madison he's the one footballer in this team. He's the one player I like watching you. You got something about you, the way you twist, the way you turn, the way you move, the way you... Now, is he world class? No, of course he's not. But he's our most creative player. He's our conductor. He's our guy. Sorry. So what's negative about it? I'm sitting here praising James Madison to the hill. How is me praising our best player negative? What are we doing here? Oh, do you know what I think's happening, guys? And we are going to wrap up in a minute. I think what's happening here, guys, is other creators are just telling people that I'm negative. They're coming over and just want to hear what they want to hear. I've said we're going to go through tonight. We're going to win the Europa League. I'm talking up James Madison. Oh, this is negative. It's negative, me talking up our best player. What are we doing? Who is this dickhead? Who is this?
It's what you said here as well. It's about the style of play. Now, if I want a player that when he's on the ball has a chance of being significantly more powerful and getting through his person, I'm picking Kulusevski over Madison all day long. Because Madison, you can flick him quite easily and he goes down. He is a very, very weak player in that aspect. But if I want my man to take it round the player and show some skill and be able to be a playmaker, then Madison goes in there 1,000,000%. We haven't got no one who is even close to what the creativity or the eye for the game, what Madison has. And that is a big problem. The closest we got to anybody else with a little bit of playmaker to them is Bentancur, or you could even say Porro to an extent. And that's still 1,000,000 miles off Madison.
Yeah. Guys, I am going to leave it there. But I did just realise as soon as I take it back, I shouldn't have said what I said about him because he's an Ange fan. It's the Ange stuff that he didn't like, right? I get it. It's the Ange stuff. Kyriakos, 19 league defeats, mate. Stick it in your pipe and smoke it. Guys, I am going to leave it there. I am going to transfer everyone over to Never a Foul because I'm going there myself. Please, when you get in there, just put Savva raid. People really do appreciate each other's raids. Please let them know you're raiding. There'll be some Arsenal fans on there as well, so you will have some fun watching them skirmish. Dan, thank you very much. Mark, thank you very much. You're both welcome to join me before the game tonight. I'll be back tonight. I'm going to make it 6:15 because of the occasion. 6:15 tonight. Join me live on my on this channel for the live watch along. Take care, everyone. Much love. Big up to my man Harold. Harold Holst Spursvold. That is the greatest name of any YouTube account I have ever seen. I love that name. Said if Bodo goes to the final, it's Spursy on steroids. Revenue record annually 50 million. You should get Kjetil Knutsen. He would fit. I agree. I like Knutsen all day, every day. Thank you so much. That is very, very generous of you, my friend. Thank you. Big up to the Aussie Ange hater with a super sticker. And big up to Richest Man with a super sticker. You guys are too generous. Thank you very, very much, everyone. Please, Savva raid when you go over to Never a Foul. Take care, everyone. See you later. And as always, come on, you Spurs.